Hi, so my name is Chantrell Mitchell. I am very new to the foundation. I'm the Community Investment Associate here. So I process the grants here, but most importantly, today I oversee Midlands Gives. I'm excited. This is my first Midlands Give. So I'm excited to be working with all of you here. So yeah, let's just get started. So we're going to open up with a quote. You can't really know where you're going until you know where you've been. And that's from Maya Angelou. So before we get into deep diving into the strategy workbook, we want to make sure we understand last year's performance from Midlands Gives. So how many of you set goals for last year's Midlands Gives if you did participate? Online, can you drop a 1 in the chat if you did participate and set goals?
Or raise your hand.
Or raise your hand. And how many in here set goals for Midlands Gives? Okay. Great. So to understand your performance for this year, let's talk about last year. So important questions you want to know, you want to ask yourself is, did you have a goal? Was your goal measurable? Did you reach your goal? Most importantly, did you gain new donors during Midlands Gives? How did you reach your current donors? Did you use social media to reach your donors? Did you use an email list? And also with social media, did you use or look over your metrics with your social media platforms? Because that's also going to be important in planning this year's campaign goal. So after looking over your performance, you will have a better understanding of where you want to go this year. And also you'll understand where. All right, and we're going to go ahead and get started into week 1.
Yeah, so one of the things that I kind of alluded to in the very beginning was that basically you get out of this what you put into it. It's really what it is. And that's really up to your organization to determine how much you want to put in. There is no right or wrong answer. And it really depends on what your organization hopes to achieve and how much you hope to achieve, and use that in comparison to then how much effort you want to put into it, right? So I really want to make sure that you guys sort of, are coming at this with that sort of train of thought. So week 1 actually is next week. So let's back up a minute. One thing that you all have in front of you or pulled up online. So let's show them where it's at online, Chantrell. We're going to share our screen with you. So if you go to midlandsgives.org, you'll see there on this, go ahead, yeah. You'll see that this is your sort of homepage. We encourage y'all to really spend some time on this site. We've cleaned it up. We feel it's very user friendly, and pretty much all the information you need is on this site or on the back end where your profile is. So if you go to For Nonprofits and click down onto Resource Hub, that's where a lot of this information is. And today we're going to be spending time on the 10-week checklist and the strategy workbook. The 10-week checklist is where we'll take a quick look at that real quick, Chantrell. That is the shortened version of this big strategy workbook. Okay, so that's an easy way just for you to go through and see the highlights as to what can be achieved for each week. And that is a 2-pager. It should be printable, and it goes through 10 weeks all the way down to Giving Day, which is May 2nd. It's always the first Tuesday of May, and then down to obviously post-giving as well. So that's a printable thing that you can use just as a big picture way of seeing sort of some of the basic things that could be done. So if you go back to Midlands Gives, and you'll see there the strategy workbook, and that's really what we're going to be going through today. Okay, so we'll show you that, and that's what you had. Those of you in the room, there's one printed off for each organization. If you want to get it off a table in the lobby, you're welcome to have a copy and use it, write on it, everything you need to do. Take notes as we go along. So those of you online, we encourage you to bring up the strategy workbook and sort of walk along with us as we go through the day. Okay? Great. And a link should have been posted in the chat. So you're welcome to get on that as well. Okay. All right. So let's then start with week 1, which is next week, February 19th through 25th. And this week really is around getting familiar with this workbook It's around developing your fundraising goals. And again, we'll talk a little bit about those. They don't have to be actual dollar goals. It could be a lot of other things you can think about. You're going to also start getting some information out to your board, to your volunteers, to your staff to say, hey guys, this is coming up. Next quarter, I want to make sure we kind of start putting it on our calendars and thinking about those kind of things. And then also, if you haven't already, there's still another 2 trainings. Go ahead and register for those 2 trainings. If it's applicable for you, put Midlands Gives on your calendar. Just FYI, I just put it on our staff's calendar this week. I'm like, whoop, we were behind on doing that as well. Block off the day is my recommendation, especially if you're sort of the lead. Block off the day so you can just spend the day also celebrating what you do. This is also a day for celebration for the nonprofit community. And we want you to be able to relax, spend the day, look at the leaderboard, cheer on other nonprofits, communicate with your donors, and just be able to enjoy the day itself. So my recommendation is 6 a.m. to midnight. If you're not an early riser or someone who stays up late, that's fine as well. But join us for as much of the day you can online, virtually. And we'll talk as well a little bit about, I guess I can mention it now. We are going to be having an in-person. So this is our 10th anniversary of Midlands Gives. Has anybody been with us the whole 10 years? Anybody? You went online? Maybe a few of you, I think. We had like 100+ organizations that were with us that first year. So
Probably we were. I might not have been I've only been there, the Salvation Army 5.
Salvation Army probably
I
has.
think we have.
Yes, I think you're right. Did I see you at Sam's this weekend?
Where?
At Sam's Club this weekend selling Girl Scout? I was selling Girl Scout cookies.
No.
Okay, I talked to one of your colleagues. She told us to come over and volunteer. That's why I was like, hey, she was just doing a good job. She was doing a great job.
Yes, she was.
Therapy place. Yes, some good folks who've been with us for a long time. So this is our 10th anniversary. And as you know, for the last, I'd say 5 years, it's been 100% virtual. We've not been in person at all. We've not been down at the ball field or the State Museum or anything like that. But this year we are going to come together to celebrate our 10 years. So we'll have a little celebration here in this space in our collaboration zone in the afternoon from 4 to 6, we think. I don't know the exact time. Don't hold me to that. It'll just be a couple hours to come together just to celebrate our 10 years for Midlands Gives. Honestly, we didn't think it would go this long. We thought it'd be just a couple-year thing, but it's been a big success. A lot of other places in the country have not continued their giving days, and we've had some good success here. Same as Palmetto Giving Day in Georgetown has had some really good success. So we'll keep going as long as the donors and you guys are interested in it. So we wanted to make sure you had an FYI about that. So again, put all those kind of things on your calendar. So let's talk a little bit about goals. Again, thinking through you and your team, whoever's on your team, really start thinking through what is considered success for you. At the end of the day, what is success? And so you can think about it. It could be financial. It could be other metrics, which Chantrell, I think, mentioned earlier, such as re-engaging old donors or keeping new donors or upping some donors. It could also be increasing your social media presence and people engaging with you on social media. So it could be a really broad range of things. And then you have to really think through, how am I going to meet that strategy? You guys are nonprofits. You know about program planning, right? Doing your logic models, right? It's almost like that, thinking, what do I want to achieve and what actual activities can I do to actually get to that goal? So there is on page, I don't have my page numbers, whatever page that is, four, is our Midlands Gives goal, sort of a big chart. All right, so those of you in the room, so there is a chart there, and it's some examples of different metrics you could be using. The first one obviously being dollars raised. So one of the things I want to make sure I let you all know is really think through what's realistic. And some folks might not realize, I think some people set some really incredible goals that might not be as attainable, right? So really trying to make sure that you set an attainable goal. For reference, for context, last year, the average amount raised by all organizations was $4,600. Okay, so that was the average from very tiny all the way up to multi-million-dollar. For small organizations, those are organizations less than 50,000, the average amount raised was $1,630. Okay, for medium organizations, which is 50,000 to 400,000, the average amount raised was $3,780. And then for large organizations, which is 400,000 up, the average amount raised was $8,382. So that's just for context. Now, for some of you, this is a big giving day for your organization. And some people, as you know, you get on those leaderboards and you're like, what? You're raising tens of thousands of dollars, right? And that is wonderful. And so this is a big day for them. So they're putting in a lot of effort. And for them, this is one of their major fundraisers. So thinking about for you as well, even if you're an organization that's $10,000 budget, We had a number of organizations who were raising $2,000, which is 20% of their budget, right? So for them, that's a big, big day, a big fundraising day, because that's 20% of their overall budget, which is realistic, I believe, on giving days like this. Because again, the average amount for a small organization was $1,630. So just kind of keep that in mind for context, okay? So again, there's some other ideas here. Matching gifts, which we'll get into a little bit about what those are. Really engaging donors, giving sizes for donors, 100 to 100, to $200, those kind of things. But also one that's not on here that I'd like you to consider as a goal is prizes. About 20% of our nonprofits did receive a prize last year, which is a big percentage. And if you ask me, a lot of them had a strategy for it, but some of them just kind of picked one up. You're like, oh, I happen to have gotten that prize. So if you actually put a strategy down for a prize, that might be a good idea on a way to really mobilize your donors around a giving prize that you can sort of be competitive for. Again, this is not a competition at all, but thinking through how you can sort of mobilize around a different prize as well. Are there any other goals that you all have set, anyone online, goals that you all have set that that would maybe be helpful for the group to know about? So we can see everybody. Oh, we lost everyone. Red button. Oh, there we go. Okay. Is there anyone online that wants to share maybe a a goal that you all have set that's been helpful? It might even be team engagement. I need to say that's a big one as well, is really thinking through how we're engaging our teams. My goal is to get Chantrell trained and ready to go. Yes.
That's great too. She's helped me 4 times on the phone.
Good.
Trying to make capacity goals have a number and making it sexy is really difficult. So if at any point that can be touched on, I would appreciate that.
Tell me more. Online, you're saying trying to set capacity goals.
Trying to increase your capacity to do the work that you're doing. And so how do you sell that to the donors? Because it's not like for $5 you can send a kid's lunch to school, or $12 will save a puppy. So if you have any way to make that concrete or some ideas, interesting, but I don't want to bog the.
Right. We do have 30 minutes after the training. It might be something we can try and chat through, but you're right. But we'll also talk about when you do your profiles, this is unrestricted giving. So when you do your profiles, you can just say, this is what it could buy, but you're not saying it's what it will buy. So when people give a donation, unless they designate it for something, that's unrestricted giving for you all as an organization. So just remember that. But okay, we can chat about that afterwards for sure. All right, so any questions then about sort of week 1, getting your bearings, looking at the strategy toolkit, setting some goals? Okay, Chantrell will talk about week 2 then.
Okay, so week 2 will start February 27th. So go ahead and put March 2nd on your calendar. That is our social media and communications training. So we will go deeper into detail about a communications plan and what social media will look like for you for your strategy as well. Erin, you want to go ahead and pull up the toolkit?
That was March 7th.
2nd. All right. During this week as well, you should be reviewing the marketing toolkit, and you can get access to the marketing toolkit from your dashboard. Are we sharing screens? So yes. Okay. So this is your main page right here. You see when you log into your profile for your organization. At the very top, you will see toolkit.
I'm trying to make it easy, everybody. Yep. So if you're over here, sorry.
There you go, toolkit. Once you click on toolkit, it will bring up the marketing materials with our new logo for Midlands Give, with our brand guidelines as well. There will be templates that you can use for social media posting for Midlands Gives Day, all in that marketing toolkit right there from your dashboard. And that will be updated before March 2nd. All right, you will also be scheduling a meeting with your staff of volunteers who will be assisting you with your campaign. You'll be talking to your board about Midlands Gives Day and giving them details about what you have planned for it. And you'll also be creating an updated donor contact list. So let's get into details about establishing our team. So basically, you want to use all of the resources around you, all of the people around you to help you with Midlands Gives Day. Your team can consist of your paid staff, your volunteers, and even your board members. And most importantly, if you want to get your board members involved with Midlands Gives Day, those are the people who wants to see your organization succeed. So they should help you, really help you get amped up for Midlands Gives Day. Determine on your staff who can help with what. Everybody has special gifts on your team at your organization. So if you have somebody strong in social media, let them do social media posting. You have somebody who's great at calling donors, let them call the donors. Also, you can have your board members even create a fundraiser page for Midlands Gives Day that they can post on their social media posts. And that's all you can require from them. It's very simple to do. And later on, we will show you how to create a fundraising page about that. As you see on page 5 in the kit, we do have a chart where you can write down your roles for each member of your organization and your donor contact list.
Before we go on that, does anybody have some interesting roles that you've assigned people in your office? We have, I forget their actual name, but we have someone who's assigned like to bring cheer to the staff. So like she gets us lunch, she brings us snacks, she checks in with us. I mean, so we have different roles because everyone has a real strength, right? And that's certainly hers. And so there's some different roles that maybe you can kind of think about as well. So everybody has something they could do that day.
Yes. So what about our donor contact list now? So you want to make sure you donor segmentation is very important because it basically subcategorizes your donors into smaller groups based on their similarity. There are different ways you can categorize your donors. You can do demographics, you can do by donor history, and you can also do by how much money they donate. So this is the best time that you can use your customer relations management system if your organization has one. If you don't have one, you can apply for a grant in the fall for our Jumpstart grant. If you go to yourfoundation.org, you will receive more information about that grant. Getting back to our donors. So you don't want to ask your big dollar donors or a recurring $10 donation. So that's why it's very important that you subcategorize your donors because you don't want to send out the same communication to your smaller donors to your big donors because your big donors would have gave you 500, but the fact that you asked, you just want $10 a month, cool, I would just send that then. You could have asked for more, but you didn't. So that's why it's very important to understand who is donating in our organization. And also during this week, like I said, you'll be reviewing your marketing toolkit. We'll be going over that like we did before, but in a little more details in our communication training on March 2nd. And now we're on week 3.
This is a FYI for when you're thinking about your donors and your contact, your communications plan. I do want y'all to know that last year we did this, and I'm assuming we're going to do it again this year. Usually sometime between 5 and 6 is where it was last year. We have a way to send an email to any donor who gave last year but had not yet given by that time this year. So we have all that. It's neon one. They have the ability to do that. So anybody who gave last year, didn't give this year, they send them an email that says, hey, looks like you forgot to give this year. Here's a list of organizations you gave to last year. Do you want to just repeat that donation? And guess what? They were able to track people who clicked through that, and it raised over $50,000 last year. So it really was people saying, oh yeah, I guess I do want to do that.
How do we do that?
We'll do that for you.
How do we set that up?
We'll do it for you. We're going to do it for every single one of you on our site. So if you have a donor who gave last year that has not yet given by say 5 or 6 o'clock on Midlands Gives Day, we'll send them an email that says you want to repeat that donation you did last year. So we'll do that on your behalf. So just so you know, if you're thinking about time and communication, you might not need to do it right then. Maybe you can do it before or after that. So they're not getting something from us and from you at the same time because they're going to be like, wait a minute, which one is this? Okay.
We'll sign up to have you do that.
Everybody's going to get it. We're going to give it to everybody. Yep. So that's just something that our system does.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Yep. We piloted it last year. It was new, and they're like, "Do you want to try it out?" And we're like, "Sure." And then when we got the data, we were like, "Ooh, that really worked." So that was great.
So we don't have to come up with a list of donors.
Yep.
That you. Oh.
I know the system already knows. Technology people are really impressive.
That's only if they're in the system from last year, if they donated.
If they donated last year on Midlands Gives, then we'll send them another email this year if they had not yet given. Yes.
So you guys already did that for us last year?
Yep.
Without us
Yep.
even asking for it?
Yep.
Is there any way for us to actually see that data?
As to who got, well, you could probably look on your donation report and see who gave. We can find out the time that email went. I don't remember exactly when, and see maybe if you saw a bump from that, 30 minutes to an hour afterwards.
So if we're a new organization.
You won't get that email, unfortunately.
No,
Yeah.
I wish we could
Yeah.
get it, but we'll be added to the list this year.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I will.
All right, and so Kim Ward asked, what is the time of that reminder email? We don't know exactly. Last year, I believe it was like, because we timed it for people when they were like getting home from work. I think it was around 6 o'clock. So we'll let y'all know that. We'll put that in one of our Midlands Gives, like in our nonprofit newsletter, just to let y'all know, hey, that's an FYI. So let's make a note of that, just so people know when that's going to go out. Because we also were mindful that some people were at work all day, so that might have been why they haven't given yet. But yeah. So week 3, I believe it begins on page 7. Which starts March 6th. 6th through 10th is where we're going to be at with that one. And so that one really is talking about starting to think about your prize strategy. Now, I need to say our goal is to have all the prizes up, well, most of the prizes up by that week. We'll for sure have them by the middle of March, but our goal is to have them. We're in conversations with our In Good Company partners right now, which are, you know, some of our old faithfuls, Aflac, Dominion, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Nephron. So we're in conversation with all of them again this year, and hopefully they'll be able to celebrate with us for our 10-year as well. So we'll have those prizes posted. If you look on well, it's not up there right now, but when you go to our website, it will be you'll see it at the top bar up there. There will be some information about prizes there. So really take a look at those, start thinking through what your strategy is going to be. And then also establish your communication, social media strategy, timeline, goals. And again, we have a training that's going to be here in a few weeks that'll help you dig a little deeper into some of that, if that's your thing. But again, we're going to mention that if your donors aren't online social media people, then communicate with them the way that you normally do, whether that's postcards, mailings, calls, emails, whatever that is. But communicate with your people the way that you typically do. And then also, we really encourage you, by this point, you need to go in and start cleaning up your profiles if you haven't yet already. I mean, I know everyone's gone in and at least done the first swath of that. If you need to go in there, clean it up a little bit more, make sure it's really user-friendly, succinct, some good stories, some pictures, those kind of things. This will be the time to start getting that cleaned up for sure. I think I mentioned this before when we talk about prizes. 21% of organizations won a prize last year. It was a good percentage, and it was evenly split for the most part between small, medium, and large. We do our best to make sure that all the prizes are segmented that way. And so it's pretty even along those, as well as through BIPOC-led organizations. But just remember, for most of the prizes, you have to have at least 10 donations before you're eligible for a prize. So think through that strategy now, so you can think through, maybe I'll go ahead and get all my donations, at least 10 donations in early giving, so that I can be eligible for any prizes the minute they start on actually giving day. Okay.
Who's giving those prizes?
Great question. So we have corporate partners called In Good Company partners, and they put money into Midlands Gives, and we use those to award prizes, as well as the Community Foundation has prizes that we've set aside grant money to do prizes as well. And there's parameters around all of that. It could be the most unique donors. It could be the most donors during a certain hour. It could be folks who had board members who gave. I mean, it's a lot of different parameters that you'll see on the prize list. And so that's how you kind of determine what's sort of best for your organization.
So can you just tell me, because I am new, what are some of the prizes? I mean, because when you said prizes initially, that was my question. I thought I'll wait till the question and answer.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of just mentioned, so one of the popular ones is certainly like Aflac Power Hours. There's, I think, 6 different hours throughout the day, and whatever organizations have the highest number of unique donors during that hour, they get a $1,000 prize or a $2,000 prize. 2,000, I believe is what it is. There's like Blue Cross Blue Shield has a leadership prize, which any organization that had a board member who gave during early giving opens April 1 through the day before Midlands Gives Day, and if they click I'm a board member at checkout, and then it's a random selection of folks who gave during that, and the prize goes to that nonprofit. We have a Get Up and Give. We did last year. I hope we'll repeat it this year. It's any organization the organization has the most unique donors the first 4 hours of Midlands Gives Day to get another prize. So I mean, it's sort of random things throughout the day. So you can take a look at all of them and see what works best. But those are the prizes. They're typically either by county or by organization size, so that you kind of are, in a pool with other people sort of like you.
Thank you.
So those are prizes from our In Good Company corporate partners. And then we also have regional matches. Now a regional match, we have a few regional community foundation funds. So we have the Greater Chapin Community Foundation, we have Orangeburg Calhoun Community Foundation, we have the Sumter Community Foundation, and the Kershaw Community Foundation. And those 4 community foundations typically provide matching funds. anywhere up to, it's usually between $250 and $500. So if your organization is located physically in one of those 4 sort of 5, I guess we call Orangeburg and Calhoun areas, we'll do a match, dollar for dollar match, the community foundations will, up to either 250 or 500, depending on what they are. But you'll see that on the prize list as well. And so that is, your organization has to raise, we'll do a dollar for dollar match for the first $250 to $500 for if you are physically located in one of those areas. Again, you need to be able to, it's where your organization has the IRS designation. That's kind of how we determine where you're at, not just where you provide services, where you're physically located. Any questions about regional matches? Okay, because I know some people had some questions about that. The other big question is around matches that your organization secures. And I think people have the biggest questions about those. So when you were doing your profile, there was a question that says, does your organization have a match? And that means, have your organization secured a match from one of your donors? Okay, that's not from the community foundation. This is a good way to sort of engage some of your bigger donors, or maybe have your board come together to provide a matching grant, or your corporate partners maybe to have a match. And what that is a dollar for dollar match for your donations that your organization has secured. And that donor has given directly to your organization. They did not give through Midlands Gives. So they give directly to your organization for that match. But you go in ahead of time and put in however much that group has agreed to do for the match. So you put that in and you'll see that on your profile. On Gives Day, it'll show you they have a match of whatever, because the minimum amount is $1,000, just so you know. If it's less than that, it's just a kind of a gift. So if $1,000, and you'll see it kind of tick off that they've raised, however, whatever percentage of that match amount. So that way you can say to your donors, hey, we have a generous donor, whatever corporation, thank them so much, who has agreed to match dollar for dollar for the first $2,000 in donations we receive. So that people love to be able to say, I'm going to double my gift, right? We all feel good about that. So for every dollar given, it becomes a $2 match. So that's something though that you all handle on your end, not us. So those are the matches, okay? We handle regional, the community foundation matches and prizes. Is that clear? Okay. Calls if you have any questions about that though. Okay.
So the match is put out, but the money doesn't go through Midlands Gives.
Correct. Those are matches that you secure yourself.
How does it get to us?
They give you a check, they give you cash, they go through your whatever. So I would say if someone is giving you a big gift, that's going to be a match, like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. You probably want that given directly anyways, because you don't want the 5% taken off the fee, right? So if they're going to give you a match, then get that directly to your organization and don't have it come through Midlands Gives, but you do go to your profile and enter in that you have a match amount, whatever that amount is.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that can be from a corporation or person.
Absolutely. Some people choose to have their board members come together and say, collectively, we're going to do however much, it'll be a $2,000 dollar for dollar match from our board.
And there is a 5% fee.
Not on the stuff you raise directly, but anything that comes through Midlands Gives, and it's not a fee to us. I need to make that very clear. We actually have to pay for ourselves. But what it is a technology fee for the platform and then a credit card fee. And together those collectively are 5%. And 70+% of donors actually opt to cover those fees last year. So the vast majority of donors are actually covering the fees for your nonprofit, which is great. All right, any questions then about prizes, matches? How you can maybe start thinking about incorporating that into y'all's strategy?
If we do the matching thing, don't you all get a record of?
We do. We count that in. So in our final numbers, we actually have in our final numbers, the actual amount of cash dollars raised, and then the match is we have the actual plus the matches. So what you honestly see reported out is what came through our system plus what we believe in good faith. When you guys say we have a $5,000 match, we believe that and we count that into the total because we do believe that that was given to you offline. Okay, so that's why it's important to also keep that match accurate. Try not to inflate that because we do report that in our final numbers. Does that work? Okay. Is that me? Are you good? We're good now? Great, thank you. Oh, I will say there's also, let's scroll through here. There is a template here. We do have templates on this strategy workbook, which I think is pretty helpful. I mean, there's obviously a thing there for you to write down what your what your strategy will be. But there is a template of, a way to maybe just do a little letter. I do recommend certainly calling and talking to anyone that you would like to do a match first. And then here's a sort of follow-up letter that you can give so they can have, documentation of that ask. So yeah.
So the next portion we're going to cover is really social media communications heavy. So we're going to touch on certain things, but we're really going to dive deep on our March 2nd training again. So like Erin said, if you're not social media heavy, it's okay. Just communicate with your donors the best way you can and just use our tips that way. So a part of week 3, you're also going to start your communication and strategy goals. Remember that this is an online giving platform. So communication is very important to your donors. That way they know that you're participating so you can get donations. So and a great way of doing this strategy is social media. Social media is a great tool to use. That way you can connect with your current donors and also get new donors that way as well. Some tips for social media would be to consistently post on social media. That means you always want to post at a specific time each day so your donors know at this certain time, I know that my favorite nonprofit is going to post something on their page. That way, when they log into social media, they will constantly see your page. That way, they'll be more in tune to look for stuff about your organization, your upcoming events and stuff. Another great tip that we have for you is to create content that is engaging with your audience. So engaging content means you want content that people can comment, like, or reshare. We want you to know when social media is about emotion. If you capture an emotion for people, they're more likely to be engaged with it. But oh my gosh, I can relate to it, and they'll share it to their platform so other people on their platform can see it as well. On the next page here, on page 12 of the strategy workbook, we have examples of engaging content. There's 4 categories for engaging content. One is educational. The second is inspirational. The third is connection. And the 4th is conversation. So if you don't have social media, you're like, how can I use these tools? If you have an email list, you can use it in your newsletter. You can put a story about a testimony or how somebody who used your service, how it helped them. That's stuff that your donors want to see because they want to know that their donations is hard at work with your organization. Another way can be a tips and tricks. If you are an animal nonprofit, you can do tips about how to care for your dogs, that you should get them sprayed or neutered. So that's another way that you can use engaging content that people can relate to. The next page we have examples about different types of engaging content for you as well. We're going to dig a little deeper again on that training on March 2nd, but we also have some more tips for you. We want you to be authentic on your social media posts or your newsletters or your postcards or mailings. We want you to be you and your organization. Your donors know you. So don't try to be anybody else but you. Another thing is to create action with your content, whether that's a newsletter or social media. Tell your donors, hey, link in my bio to donate to my Midlands Give page. Click here in my newsletter to donate to my Midlands Gives page. You always want people to do an action. That way, that's like, okay, I read, now what? You want them to donate, so you tell them, I want you to donate right now, so click here. Another way is to have pictures and videos. So right now on Instagram and Facebook, there are pushing video that is very important to them right now. I know there was a story that came out that Instagram is going back to pictures, but they have to stay in competition with TikTok. So they're going to constantly keep pushing these videos as well. So if you have videos of your events that you do at your nonprofit or your services that you provide, post those snippets. People love to see what you're doing at work. They love it. And it's okay to only have one social media platform. I know everybody doesn't have the capacity to have multiple social media platforms, and that's typically okay. So if you have one social media platform that you're strong in, just constantly post on that one as well. And we're going to talk about analytics on that March 2nd training, because knowing your analytics for your social media posts is very important. Your analytics will tell you when the best time that's engaging with your followers, the best time for you to post, how many people are looking at your post. So you really want to understand your analytics when we talk about the social media. And now we're into week Want to talk about profiles for a minute? Profiles?
Yeah, so one of the things we want to make sure you're doing is also thinking through how your profile can be engaging.
Yes. Oh, you want to pull up this? So telling a story as well as having great social media, we want you to have a great profile. Remember, this profile is up year round. Donors come to this page year round to donate. So if you have a great profile, say if you are a human service and I don't want to donate to my typical organization, say I want to find a new one. If you have a great profile, they're like, okay, I love their work. They're going to donate. So in your profile, we want you to tell a story. So that doesn't mean give me an essay about your organization. If people are scrolling for a long time, they're typically not going to donate because you lost them. They really want to know who you are, what you do, and how you need the help. That's what they really want to know. If you have testimonials, that's great. If you have pictures, that's even better for them. Because that way you can capture your profile. It's just like an elevator pitch. At the end of the day, your profile is an elevator pitch. So if you can get somebody in a minute, that's all it takes. So you want to make sure your profile does that. And a great example is Riverbanks Zoo and Garden.
But
Right. Everybody loves animals. We know that. Everybody loves the cute koala bears or and the panda bears. But if you scroll down a little bit on their page, they're quantified their donation amounts. So for $10, you can feed a penguin. Who doesn't want to feed a penguin, you guys? For only $10. For only $10, I can feed a penguin. I feel like I saved the world just with $10. For $100, I can feed a gorilla for 2 weeks. And who doesn't love the gorillas at the zoo? I mean, that's pretty cheap. It's the cost of groceries now, but $100, they quantify that donation.
But it also helps you to see how much things really do cost. Like $275, I'm shocked.
It costs that much to feed a rhino for less than 2 weeks. So you're like,
Right.
gosh, they really do need money, right? Like this is costing a lot more than I realized. But it does, and I need to reiterate, this is not saying that this money is now encumbered or is committed to, you have to spend it on those things. It's just saying, this is how much it costs us to do business, okay? And think about all that the zoo does. They could probably go on forever, but look how succinct that is and easy to get through as a donor, right? And bulleted out, exactly. Just a couple testimonials and you're good. And good pictures and videos. I'm not sure there's any videos, but yes. Okay. We just want to show you all an example of a nice succinct
Profile.
They did say we could post videos if we use, is it Vimeo or Facebook? I'm sorry, YouTube, we could post video.
YouTube.
So that's gonna be covered on the 2nd of March, right?
If you need help uploading your videos, on your profile, it has a place that says multimedia. It says multimedia, I believe. That's where you will upload the videos and your pictures. That
Profile here, multimedia is here.
multimedia,
Right,
yes.
but you have to have an account with Vimeo or YouTube.
Yes, ma'am. You would have to have an account.
Yeah.
It is very easy to set up a YouTube and a Vimeo account. It's very easy to set up. So if you need help, just let me know. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a deadline for updating a profile or we?
Yes, so March 31st is the deadline to update your profiles. That means to add picture, video, update your mission statement if you want to make it shorter. If you need to add testimonials, March 31st is the deadline. Now, you can still add your Midlands Gives Day goals and matches year round at any time, okay? But March 31st is the deadline. Now, if you have to make a profile edit outside of that, past that date, please email midlandsgives.org so we can talk, okay? All right, so on week 4, we're now developing our digital or printed marketing materials. Again, we will have templates for you to use in a marketing toolkit if you need help with that area. During this week, you're gonna also finalize your communication plan. So you're gonna write down what strategy you're gonna use, and you're just gonna tie up loose ends on your communications plan. You're gonna also create email templates and schedule e-blasts with printed materials for your mailings. You're gonna strategize your social media content, and you're gonna go ahead and schedule it. And you're also gonna complete the interview interest form. So we do have interviews The media loves to interview our nonprofits. If you are interested in doing interviews with the media for Midlands Gives Day, please make sure you fill out that form. That form will be emailed out in our Midlands Gives nonprofit newsletter. But please make sure you fill it out. That way we'll know that you're interested in being interviewed. We would love to have a nonprofit from each area in our 11th county service area. And remember, I want you to know it's not a guarantee that you would get interviewed. It is sometimes short notice. So when we call you, that means they just let us know they need a nonprofit to interview. So if you're available, we will call you and let you know. So yes, so next, we're going to continue with our social media plan. Just remember as well, the few words the better on your social media list and on your profile. The few words the better. It's okay to use stock images if you don't have pictures, but if you can just take a quick picture of whatever you're doing with your organization and post that, people love that as well. That's mean you're being authentically you. And the next thing is user-generated content. So when you have events or services, sometimes people tag your organization for things. Ask those people who tag your organization, hey, can I repost this on my use this on my website or use this on my Midlands Give profile page? Most of the time, if they tag you, they want to be reposted at the end of the day by the organization.
How do you post that on your profile?
Oh, no, it's
No,
on
no,
your
no,
social
on your
media.
social media. They can repost on your social media. On your profile, you will have to download the picture, but I can show you how to do that. But people love to be reposted. So just ask them, can you reuse their picture? And most of the time they will say, yeah, they love stuff like that. It makes them feel like they're special at the end of the day. On our next page, you will also see the best times to post on social media for nonprofits. We did Instagram and Facebook since those are the two most popular social media tools. We also have some other websites that you can use for social media. How many of you have heard of Canva? Everybody. So if you're a nonprofit, you can have a free Canva premium account. You just have to sign up for it. And with Canva, it's a design tool. They have templates for you for social media and Instagram, and they are now using AI stuff in Canva. If you go on YouTube and type up Canva tutorials, they have a lot of tutorials that your organization can use. And the premium feature usually costs $12.99 a month, but for nonprofits, it is free. And it's a great tool to have if you don't have the social media capacity to design content from scratch. It does most of the work for you. You just have to enter the words and that's it. And we're on week 5 now.
All right, so this is really, we're now at March 20th, the week of March 20th. And so we're kind of getting ready. So those of you who are new, Midlands Gives Day is May 2nd, but early giving starts already on April 1st. And so that's when we kind of open it up and anyone can get on. We'll see a pretty big bump already that first week because some people they heard you. They said, okay, you can get on, I'm gonna donate. My board members, everybody goes on and donates. We'll get a little bump that first week or two. But it does start early giving already here coming up. So we're on March 20th, right? So this is really around, so we're going to ask you to come to our donor relations training. Many of you are experts in this already, and we all talk about, because we give as well to a lot of your organizations, and then we come back and go, oh, guess the thank you letter I got. It was so good. We get postcards, we get calls. And so start thinking now about, attending that donor relations strategies training so you can really kind of refresh your donor relations and how you engage with your donors. And then again, the communication strategy, we've talked about that ad nauseum. I get it. So this is really around, start continuing to implement that. And then you can start posting already on social media. Make sure you tag us. We love to repost. We'll do all those things. And use the hashtag Midlands Gives with any of the stuff you're doing. And in recent, I think ever since the beginning, it is trending for that day. Hashtag Midlands Gives usually is one of the trending topics. We encourage you to continue doing that whenever you're posting as well. So that week is really just kind of gearing up and getting ready to go. And then, but being mindful, I think there is a comment up there about donor fatigue. So you have to really be mindful about how often you're communicating with your donors. So a lot of this work is done internally, right? And so you haven't yet reached out to your donor. It's just you preparing and kind of getting ready. And so thinking about how often you want to reach out, because it might not be a reason to reach out too early because they're like, well, I still can't give. I mean, I can give to you now, but it's not going to count for Midlands gives, right? So you kind of want to be able to think through, how do I just get them excited about it, but don't start giving until April 1, right? So you don't want to do too much early communication because that'll kind of confuse them. They might go on early, which a gift is a gift, but you kind of want them to give during sort of that giving day time period, right? So just kind of be mindful of that. Tina Torres says she loves Canva. Good. It is user friendly. So that's good. And then week 6, that's March 27th. So that is the week the early giving begins. Okay. And again, as a reminder, the deadline to submit profile updates is March 31, but you can go on at any point and update your goals and your matches. Some people choose to up their goals because they're like, oh, I got a big gift that came in, so I'm gonna go ahead and up my goal. But you can go in and update those as needed throughout. So just knowing that early giving, they're made in real time. It does count towards your Midlands Gives Day goal. So already starting April 1, it does count for that. And most of you are familiar with the actual giving site. It's pretty easy to check out and go and do all the different things that they're doing. You just kind of put them in your cart and you check out one time. As a reminder, the Community Foundation gives the tax receipt because technically the donation is to the Community Foundation, right? So we give them the tax receipt. So you do not do that because that would not be good. Then they would get 2 receipts for 2 gifts, right? You give them a thank you, but not a receipt. All right. And we automatically generate that. And as a reminder, just go to the Midlands Gift site for a minute. All the way down to the bottom. Well, it might go to the homepage. Yeah. As a reminder, if you have anyone who says, I didn't get my receipt, it's going to be automatically emailed to them. Just thinking. You go all the way down to the bottom though, there's something that says receipts on the home page. There we go. All the way down. And there's a cute kid who's now like a teenager. But they'll just put in their email address and the year that they're looking for a receipt, and it automatically generates that for them as well. Okay. So the other thing we want to kind of mention here briefly is this is the time as well to start engaging your regular givers, people who are really committed to your organization, your volunteers. Encourage them to create a fundraiser page for you. Has anyone had anyone do a fundraiser page for them yet?
A different name a couple years.
It used to be called Champion Pages. Anyone have those? Yeah. Do you have success with it?
Last year was our best success.
Okay.
Somebody back in the day had good success, but last year we did have a fundraising matching.
Good. Good. So you can set one up yourself, a fundraiser page for your organization, and you can easily share it on your social media, but you also can have your people who love you to do that on behalf of you. And it really is just peer-to-peer fundraising. You know, people who go on Facebook and say, for my birthday, please give them this favorite nonprofit. This is a way to do that, but through the donations come through our site. So I want to show you just really quickly how you can do it. Go to Get Involved. I want to show you how easy it is. Get Involved, go down to Create a Fundraiser. And there's directions right there, step-by-step directions on how to do it, okay? So that's all there for you. And I want to show you just how easy it is. So let's just go to 1SC. Just find the nonprofit. So if you were to go to, so if I'm someone who wants to, I really love the 1SC fund, I would go to that page and I would click Create a Fundraiser. If you notice, I'm already logged in actually. And you've just clicked on there, the title of your fundraiser, just put test 3. And then the custom URL is going to be the words at the end of it, right? So we'll say midlandsgives.org / whatever you want there. So EJ's gift. There you go. How much do I want to raise? Being realistic, right? I'm going to think, I think my friends can help me raise $300. And if I wanted to, I could upload an image. If you as a nonprofit, if you know someone's doing this on your behalf, if you want to give them an image, you certainly can. Or if it's an image of them at one of your events or anything like that, they can upload an image and then you can tell, they can share a story. I love this nonprofit because it provides disaster response and it helped my family, right? So just put, it's great. And save the fundraiser. Click save. And it's on there. So test 3, it's published already. So that's there. That's how easy it was. Now you, those are other ones that we did. You as a nonprofit, when you go to your profile on the back end, you can get out of there now. Just go home. Yeah. I said, no, oh, so that's good. Thank you. Go back to there. So this is what you'll see. Go to learn more. So when anyone goes on your page, you'll see that fundraiser page is actually on there now. It's that quick and easy. Okay. But you as a nonprofit can also take them off if you don't like them. If you're like, I didn't want to approve that one, you on the back end can kind of manage some of that as well. But we have some nonprofits who have all their board members set these up. You saw that this is actually my husband's account we logged into, and he did it one year and just said, I'm going to match dollar for dollar. He knew he was already going to give. And so he said, I'll match dollar for all my friends who give. And you saw that he raised $609. I mean, that was beyond what his goal was. And he had his mom give, and his, people from all over the country were like, that's really nice you're doing that. I'm proud of you for being on the board, those kind of things. And it worked. And he kind of told a personal story as to why this organization was important for him.
All of this is done on Midland Gives site.
Yep. All that's on the site, and they can go in on their own to the site and do it. You don't have to do that. You just, if they need some help though, crafting the language, you want to make sure it's consistent with what you actually do. Because we know sometimes we will post some different kinds of things. You can help them with that as well. Okay. So that's a good way to then really recruit some folks to do fundraiser pages and show them just how easy that is. Okay. Yes.
I can't remember, we have had those pages before, but I can't remember how this worked. So if someone sets up the individual fundraiser page, the people who are donating to that, are their names and email addresses captured?
Yes, you will still receive that in your donor information. Great question. For those who, I'm sure they heard you, but just so you know, anyone that donates through a fundraiser page, you will still have access to that donor information. Just as a reminder, do not have them create a fundraiser page until after April 1. Because anyone who creates one before then, we're ending all fundraiser pages March 31st, and we're starting new April 1. Just be mindful of that. So that way we can all count for the giving day time period. Okay.
So what's that date? No,
April 1. They can go in after April 1 or later and create it. We recommend goals between 100 and 2,000. What it says, they can do whatever they want. We have some people who are really ambitious. They must have really deep pocketed friends. But whatever they want their goal to be, they certainly can. But you want to be realistic so people feel like I can help you get there, right? Like if you have some really large goal, they're like, my $15 ain't going to help, right? But making sure it's realistic that they feel like, oh, I can help you reach that goal. I like you. I appreciate what you're trying to do, and I'll help you with that. Okay.
Tanya says the site feels easier to manage this year. So that's
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, now we're into week 7. So we're in the home stretch of our strategy planning. So right now, you should be mailing any printed materials you should continue to post on your social media, continue emailing your donors. You should be sending out marketing materials if you're having a giving day event. At this time, you should make sure all staff members who needs to have access to the profile have access. You want to delete all old staff members. At this time, we're beginning early giving, and you do not want old staff member access to the donation information. That is very important. Accessing your donors is very easily. If you go to your dashboard, it says My Donations. And if you click on My Donations, you can type in the time frame you need your donor information for Midlands Gives Day. So that would be from April 1 to May 2nd. And it will give you all of the donors who donated on that day. On week 8, we're continuing to doing the same thing. Continue posting on our social media. You're going to continue to post your Midlands Gives Day events if you have one. You're going to also repost content from our page, because we're also will be doing a social media platform strategy ourselves for Midlands Gives Days for you guys. Okay. On week 9, we're doing the same thing. We're getting our donors revved up for Midlands Gives Day, and we're doing the same thing for you guys as well. We also want to remind you guys, you should not be using your organization's credit card to make donations. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Years past, we had that happen, and that's not how Midlands Gives work, okay? We just want to put that out there. So yes, in week 9, you're confirming your staff and volunteer responsibilities, making sure everyone knows what they're doing on Midlands Gives Day. And that's about it.
Just as a reminder, if you are doing any printed materials, please don't forget to embed a QR code on that, which is on your profile. You see that QR code right there. And you can then copy that and put it on any printed materials and people can scan that. And it'll go directly to your giving page. Okay, so don't forget to do that on your postcards, your print, anything printed. Doesn't make as much sense online.
How did I get that again?
Yeah, sure.
Profile?
Yeah, so when you're in your profile, just do the QR code. And then the donation embed code is if you wanted to, so if you have a give now button on your website, you can actually get the embed code. It's way above my knowledge, but you can have it so you can change it just for those few weeks to make it so if someone goes to give now on your page, it'll instead go to your Midlands Gives page instead of your typical whatever you use. Okay. I know.
Usually your
As much
website
as
guy,
well as you can right now.
usually your website guy would know about embedded code. They probably will ask you for one if you're trying to do that.
Yeah. What's the embed code? Yeah. All right. So week 10, it's April 24th, the week of April 24th. So again, you'll do a light reminder to your board and your volunteers about their role. This is really a time to engage your board. It's an easy ask of your board, right? It's really a time to engage their board. When we look at the after data, their boards participate in varying rates now. So I hope this is a good time for you to engage your board. The day before Midlands Gives Day is people can go on and create their fundraiser pages. We think it's the last day to create fundraiser pages. We'll find out if they can actually do it on Gives Day itself.
They start making their own fundraising pages.
April 1, they can start making fundraiser pages.
Start then, and.
Yep.
Right, I see.
And this is also the day to do your last kind of, day of training for any staff. What's their role? Refresh them on that. And then last but not least, get a good night's rest. Because this, again, we want you to be able to feel like you've done all the pre-work, right? And day of is the day you just get to enjoy and check the leaderboard and give yourself whatever good stuff you need that day to celebrate you and the work that you're doing. And then Giving Day itself. That's May 2nd. So that really is a day, again, to thank your donors. If you need to send that email first thing in the morning as a call to action, as a reminder, today's the day, get up and give, right? Just a reminder to them, tell them whatever time you want them to be giving. Some people have their strategy, get up and give at noon or whatever that time is, right? Frequent updates to social media, check your donor data. You can get a jump start on things. Go ahead and start doing your thank yous. Again, one of my favorite things is we gave one time and within 2 hours, the board member called and said, hey, just want to tell you thank you for giving. I was like, oh, thank you. I mean, it just felt so special, right? And it was easy. It was really easy. It was not a long conversation. So those are time that you can easily do some of those. Some of you have the capability to do text thank yous, whatever that is, do it, day of makes it a lot easier. And then watch us on social media. We're going to be on Facebook again, like we always are. Check out what's going on. Join us if you can, or if you want to, for our 10-year celebration towards the end of the day. And just sort of enjoy the work that your organization is doing and celebrate with the rest of our community. That work? All right.
So after that is post-giving day. So at this point, you should be sending thank yous to your donors, like we just said. Usually you want to send them out within a week or 2, not 3. But send those thank you letters out. Your donors really do appreciate those. We will be sending out a post-event survey. We love when you guys take our surveys because let us know what we need to improve on, what you guys like, what things you need more of. Our team usually debrief after Midlands Gives Day, and your team should as well. Usually during your debrief moment, you'll be asking your team what went well, what didn't go well, what things you think we should improve on for next year, what will be a better goal for us, or how can we reach our goal better next year. And at that point, I want to ask a question. What do you think the prize should be for completing the survey this year? So last year we gave away a Yeti cup.
Here it is. Can I touch it? We gave away this last year to 2 or 3 different people, right?
It was 2 people. Two
Yeah.
people received a Yeti cup last year from us.
Random draw.
It was a random draw.
Nonprofit.
So if in the chat, if you have any suggestions or anybody in the room would think what should be the prize can be.
Other years we've done like gift cards to like Starbucks. We've done donations to the nonprofit. So it's whether it goes to the individual or to the organization is probably one of the things we want to think about. And like, what do you think would help motivate you? We want to give you things that you would enjoy, that you're like, yeah, I'll go finish your survey for that.
Anybody have any suggestions in the room?
I take all 3. I take the cash donation to the organization. I would definitely take a Starbucks cup, a card, chai tea,
Yeah.
I would love a Yeti cup. I don't have one yet, so I would love one. Yeah.
Okay, so we have in the chat that most people are saying, I see too, that says donation to the nonprofit.
Mhm.
Okay, we have some ideas to work on this year, you guys.
Great.
So, and at this point, you guys, that is your Midlands Gift Day strategy. I know it seemed like a lot, but it is good for your organization. You can use this for Midlands Gives or any fundraising strategy that you have for your organization. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Dixon from Cola Gives. And we've done this a few years now, not enough, but on Giving Day, you said you're only gonna be live from 4 to 6, or what was it?
No, ma'am. So on 6 a.m. to 12 midnight is the online giving day.
I know that part. I mean,
For our 10-year celebration,
for
the in-person,
everybody coming and getting together and doing fun
We
things.
don't know what time it's gonna be,
Okay.
but it'll be probably late afternoon, early evening.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not gonna be like from 6 in the morning to
No.
midnight like it used to be.
No, ma'am, it's not.
It's fun in those days. I'm probably the only person who thought being here.
Tina says maybe attending a special event for one of the Midlands organizations. Oh, like giving you tickets to an event? That's fun. It is different. I like it.
I like that.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Oh, so a suggestion was that maybe you give tickets to like an event, a local event to someone who completes the survey and gets randomly drawn.
Now, who, okay,
You have questions?
okay, the survey is for you though.
Yes, the survey. We're just trying to give you incentive to please complete the survey.
Right.
Please grab a cupcake on your way out. So those of you online, we're gonna unmute if people have questions. If you're in the room, if you have questions, this is the training is over. We just allotted 30 minutes. If anyone has questions, want to sit one-on-one, Haley's here, I'm here, Chantrell's here, to just chat through any specific issues that you might have or lingering questions.
Yeah, question in the back.
Oh, Mercy has a fundraising gala 3 weeks after Midlands. Gives Day.
Oh, is it like black tie gala?
Well, it's an art show.
Oh, fun. Okay.
It's a good gift.
That'd be cool. Oh, that's fun. So Tina Torres mentioned that she has an event. She would maybe be able to give a set of tickets to someone to attend as an incentive. That's a fun idea. Nonprofits could donate their event, like just for a couple, but if you go, you got to promise to like at least bid on something. Yes. That's that'd be fun. That'd be fun. All right. So you're free to go. If you're here in the room, thank you, everyone online.